Good evening, guys. This is Irene, and we are in Imola tonight. So we are waiting for the GT4 drivers for the first 15 minutes, and after we will have the GTE drivers for the rest of the qualifying time. Okay, we see now Leonardo Iannantuono. So I have to say that this is the second time that we repeat the qualifying time in Imola, because last time we had some problems last week. So that's why tonight we are repeating the qualifying time and the race itself.
Hey there, Rennie. How are you?
Hi, I was waiting for you. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are
I see
you,
you've
my
gotten
friend?
started. Doing okay.
I was afraid.
Looking
I mean, I
forward to
was,
this race today,
I
that's for
was
sure.
all alone. I was all alone. I was saying, "Oh my God, I am alone. I don't have Tom with me. What will I do tonight? All alone." I am lucky. I'm so lucky. So we have Steelcast 27 with us. How
Hi,
are you,
everybody.
Tom?
I'm doing well. I'm in the middle of a transition at work, and also in the middle of some hardware transition. I just got a new computer, so hoping to update the quality of the work that I do for YouTube. So I'm excited, and still transferring files as we speak, but it's it's moving forward.
And what? I mean, I'm sure you have improved your computer, of course. So, is there something specific that you bought, especially for the game itself?
Yeah, there was for a
Some.
while I've been having some tech issues that I've kind of had to work around, especially with regards to live drive and recording. My computer wasn't sufficient to be able to do that, so I had to rely on a lot of replay work and doing voiceovers over replays. But I really wanted to move into sort of like a live drive record format, and this computer hopefully will allow me to do that. That's what I spent the money for, so it better.
A lot of money, right?
Yeah, it was quite a few coins. Yeah.
Few coins.
But yes.
Did you pay? Did you pay by Bitcoin with Bitcoin? No.
No, I spent good old fashioned American greenbacks. Oh, too many of them. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. I haven't even plugged it in yet, so I haven't had a chance to even try it out. But I'm excited to hopefully be able to play the game at the highest, higher graphic settings, and being
Yes.
able to, take advantage of all these great visual effects that AMS2 has to offer with regards to weather and raindrops and these types of reflections, and reduce the amount of aliasing was a big one. But yeah, coming into the modern world for the first time, I'm sure everything will be fine. And I have a lot of friends out there that are pretty tech savvy, so I have people I can ask questions of.
Yeah, of
Right
course.
now,
This
it's
is
a
very
matter of hoping that
important.
I'm hoping that when I boot the computer up, it's I buy them from a custom computer company out of California. So I'm hoping that when I boot it up for the first time, it doesn't instantly fry something.
No, no. Everything will be okay, I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure you guys are so technical with this stuff. I mean, we have actually three or four, maybe four computer in our. So we are two, Simone and I, and we have four computer. Can you believe it? I mean, sometimes
Yeah, that's nowadays. Everyone's got to have a laptop, right? And then
yes,
you have to have
one is a
your,
laptop and it's mine, and the other
and then
three
you,
are for Simone.
right. So he's got probably a server. He's probably got his main driving computer.
Yes.
And what's the fourth one for?
Well, sometimes we watch Netflix, and so we use with the TV. So different computers for different roles.
Right.
Just that.
Okay.
And one of them it's also for mining. I don't know which one, but
Oh, okay. That's Bitcoin mining.
no. If I remember well, it should be Ethereum or something like this.
Okay.
Have you ever heard about that?
I've heard of Bitcoin mining, and I know that you have to have you be running a computer all the time.
Yes.
I'm sure it's something similar to that, but yeah, that's the reason why. If anyone's interested, the reason why all the graphics cards have been
Yes.
really high,
Yes.
high
Incredible.
price, because all of these people need these, 1080
How much?
Ti's to.
How much does it? How much does one cost over there in United States? I think it's cheaper than here in Italy. I mean, a
What, a
good one.
graphics card?
Yes, a graphic card, but I think it's a. I mean, I think it should be cheaper, but at the same time, yes, a good one for mining, a good one for gaming too.
Well, they came out with the 3000 series, or at least Nvidia did. So that's the one that I got. I didn't get the top of the line model, but if you start pushing the numbers up, the price can get into the thousands, I'm sure.
Yes.
Easily several hundred. I'm not really sure exactly what the market value of the card is that I got,
No,
but
here
it's gotta be at least $500.
here it's double. Here it's
Okay.
double. Yes, 1,000 euro, more or less, or something even more, even more.
Yeah, it's an expensive hobby. This,
It
and
is.
then on top of that is the equipment just to race properly. I'm sure, if you see some of the people's setups out there for sim racing, it's quite unbelievable, really.
Okay,
So,
so let me greet all our friends there in the chat. So Chris Collison, Rocco Tamanoidis, Lynn Seven Stars, that writes that's just written Jason Army. So everybody is waiting for Jason Underwood over there outside. And Sambo 90 Collison, you got this son. I don't know. Let me tell me something about the GT4. No, yes, GT4. Richard Gauci
okay.
right now is on top.
Yeah, Richards is putting in. He was strong last week before we had the technical issues, but I'm hoping this is sort of like one of his better tracks, and that the second half of the season, he's got some tracks that he's more familiar with. Because right now, Dennis Hawkins is running away with this thing, but today could definitely be Richards' chance to make a statement and say, "Hey, look, there's still competitors out here in the GT4 category." The GT4 as a car is it's sort of a, what do you would say? It was one of the more spec series. Above the GT4 is obviously GT3, and then above the GT3 is the GTEs. The GT4s are closer to the a purchasable road production car. Obviously, they've been race modified, sometimes by the factory manufacturer themselves, sometimes by third parties. Richard's driving the Porsche Cayman, and I believe in AMS2 it's the Manthe Racing version. So what they've done is they've lightened the car up. They put some carbon fiber on it, and upgraded the safety packages, things like that to make them safer for on-track driving. And then here we have the McLaren 520S. And I believe this is Dennis, yes?
Yes, Dennis Hawkins.
The 520S's bigger brother is the 720S. Everyone's familiar with that one, I'm sure. But yeah, this is more akin to the road car, and they're actually they're like when I mentioned that they were spec, that means that the regulations in place to keep the cars balanced are, they have more things to play with there, so they kind of, basically outright say you can't make changes to the setups for a lot of these cars. So the drivers are sort of stuck in a lot of ways. I think a lot of the springs are locked. For example, you can't make spring adjustments. I believe you can do some ARB work on some of the cars. Other cars you can't. So it's sort of just like drive by the seat of your pants kind of feel. They've been in the AMS2, I believe, for quite a long time. But AMS2 has obviously been under development for quite a long time too. So right now it's becoming better and better as the game improves as far as the quality of the driving is concerned. The BMW M4, I'm sorry, is that the M3? Yeah, that's I'm sorry, it's M4. That's right. The GT4 is the BMW class competitor, and that one is one of their more recent introductions into the game, and they've had to iron some things out with that recently. But right now it's probably the least competitive of the three. One of the least competitive. I believe the Camaro is probably the least competitive overall. And right now, I think some improvements to the Porsche Cayman have made it kind of more competitive with the McLaren 520S. I believe the McLaren was for a long time the strongest GT4 category car. But here you see the Porsche at the top. So Richard is definitely taking advantage of whatever improvements Rise has made to it. So it's an interesting category for sure, and I think it's a fun car to drive. And let's see how these guys take to it today.
Yes, it seems that Richard Gauci is still on the top. Second is Simone Buttafuoco for now. Third, Hawkins. Dennis Hawkins, right?
Yes.
Okay. And fourth, Salvatore Rodano. And fifth, just right now, Narduzzo. And sixth, Graham. I don't know the name of Graham, I'm sorry. And seventh, Leonardo Iannantuono. And eighth, Mara. Mara, if I remember well, Mara is a wild card. And yes, I do remember well because I met him yesterday. Yesterday he was driving in the Italian Championship, so that's why I remember him. But okay, so he's just a wild card. He will not compete.
So it's Darren Graham?
No.
Darren Graham?
Mara.
No, yeah, it's okay. Darren.
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 Graham. Okay.
Yeah, Darren.
Sorry, but I still make some mistakes with names. It's hard for me to remember everybody. I'm just a woman, and
I'm terrible with names as well. But fortunately, I tried to cobble together a roster here so I can get everyone's first name. Getting everyone familiar with getting myself familiar with the first names. Dave Mara. And
so I think the time is over, more or less, right?
For the GT4s, their time on the track is ending. Yep, and we're going to have the GTEs come out for their spin.
So I guess that Richard Gauci will still on the top and in pole position.
Well, we have Simone finishing a lap. We'll see how he finishes up. He's in the Ginetta. Oh, he went right to the pits.
Luca Gagliardini. Good evening, Luca Gagliardini. Welcome. I was missing you. Luca Gagliardini, if I remember well, is a very nice driver, if I remember well. is on the chat right now.
Okay, Darren just finished his last flying lap. Wasn't able to improve, unfortunately.
No. And so the guys with the GT are just out. Let's see. Jason Underwood.
Jason Underwood just had a little bit of an off, so this lap has been invalidated for him, so he's going to have to go around again. I think some of the GTEs are trying to clear Darren at this point. Fortunately, they're all on their out lap.
Oh, glad to see also my friend Thomas Marlidis out today.
Thomas Marlidis has made the manufacturer change. He decided to go with the BMW M8. It was cleared by the stewards for him to continue in the series with this car, which I think is by far the most competitive GTE, so good for him. Daniela Belladonna has put down a 144. Put in the first GTE
Daniele
time.
Belladonna. Daniele Belladonna, not bad. But let's see the others. Let's see the others.
Last week he had a strong showing at Imola, so hopefully he can back that one up with a strong showing here today. I believe Imola is one of his more favorable tracks.
So Luca Giardini has just written, yeah, I missed this race too, but unfortunately I don't have time to run this champ. Ora, in Italian, ora. I mean, right now. I would have tried to join it of the race here again in the next champ. No problem, Luca. No problem. We will be waiting for you. No problem. Okay, so it is 4 a.m. In Imola. We are driving at 4 a.m. But sunrise will be soon. Will come soon because if I remember well, the time runs faster in the game. If I remember well, so we will. It's a five times faster than normal, right? Okay. I was asking to Simone if I am correct. And so soon we will have the sunlight better than the night, of course.
Yeah, it looks like some times are coming in now. Marius Kelm putting down a nice solid 1 minute 37.
Wow.
Evie Ryler's come in. James Gansey's come in.
Chris Collison too, my friend Chris Collison. And we have somebody from Germany, Crimson Eminence. Welcome. Very happy to see somebody from Germany.
Crimson is a good friend of mine and a supporter of Steelcast 27. Welcome, Crimson.
Amazing.
He's also sort of close in with Ryza Group, so he has way too much knowledge about this game. He probably trumps me in a lot of ways.
Really? So we are honored to
Not
have
only
him.
does he know cars and physics and car mechanics, but he also knows all of the technical components of.
So he should be here.
Developing a sim. So he's got he's what do you call it, a double threat.
Amazing. You should be here in my place. I mean, I don't know what to do here, talking, speaking with you.
If he can sing, we could probably put him on stage. So that's how talented Crimson is.
Hey, Rennie, Tom.
Hey, Craig.
Welcome. How are you doing, my friend Craig?
Good evening, all.
Everything is okay over there in Britain?
Yeah, great, thank you. Just
Amazing.
troubles updating. For whatever reason, it gave me a 2.5 gigabyte download instead of whatever it was, 200 megabytes.
Don't
So
worry.
Well, Craig, you didn't. You've missed the GT4s. They've come in with their qualifier. We got Richard Gauchi at the top, as you can see. But I think the story right now with the GTEs is Dan Lewis putting it into the 36s for the first one to do that today.
Yep.
good to see Richard reclaimed his top spot as well, though. He done that twice last week, didn't he? So that's refreshing to see. At least he could put it back on after the problems we had. Dan, fantastic lap there, 1:36.9.
Richard's driving the Porsche Cayman as well, so it's like I was saying before. It's really great to see the Porsche becoming more competitive.
Absolutely.
You've had some recent experience with the Cayman, and I think it was positive, right?
Yeah, I think the last two updates, the previous two, I noticed a huge difference in terms of handling, the grip, speed, straight line speed as well. There's a lot more closer to the 520?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a lot more closer than that than it's ever been. I do believe I was running faster times of the Cayman round Monza over the McLaren, so I knew straight away that was indication that they've improved the car massively.
I think it sounds like all of the world records are under threat at this point.
So, EC81, that used to say it should be Francesco Di Fiore, has just written Ciao Craig. I don't know, Craig, if you remember Francesco Di Fiore.
Yeah, I remember Di Fiore,
Okay.
yeah, from previous champions. Hello.
Okay. And also, Mad Driver 11, I don't remember who Mad Driver is, but... Ettore Sapienza. Ettore Sapienza is Mad Driver 11. Has just written, have fun, enjoy the race. Hello everybody. Ciao Ettore.
See, Marius and Thomas, they couldn't make it last week, so it's kind of worked out in their favour that they could participate this time round, and it just so happens to slot it in P2, P3 as it stands. So it's great to have all the all the top drivers back in to compete.
Looks like Darren Graham is still actually out on track, and I think that he kind of got in the way of one of Rocco's flying laps.
In the GT4?
Yeah, and he just came to the pits now, but he had to. Rocco had one of his laps scrubbed pretty much.
There's a car flashing in the pits. I don't know.
Yeah, that's Simone's. I believe that's Simone's Ginetta.
Simone, do you drive a Ginetta? Yes, Simone drives a Ginetta. He says, yes, unfortunately, I do drive a Ginetta, as just said.
Appears that he's attached some strobe lights to his car. He's ready for the post-race after party.
Rocco is just is out right now, out of the pit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for him.
Who has Rocco? Rocco just come back out.
Yes.
Yeah, he went to the pits after the lap got scrubbed, excuse me, and probably got on some fresh boots and is out on his outlap now. You really only have about 2 or 3 laps of hot lapping in with these tires, depending on the track temperature, because you have that sort of like a 6-minute window or 7-minute window of like ultra soft freshness. I think the temperatures are not a problem, but they still wear a little bit. You know, that freshness comes off, and then after 3 laps, you're looking at a normalized, race-paced kind of durability phase. But for these qualifying laps, you want to have that fresh phase, and that's where you're going to get to see a lot of these, these really strong times. And it looks like Erie just came in and is the second guy to come in with a 36. So good for him.
Yeah, so Dan obviously did improve. He improved 2 tenths on his previous personal best in this session. Had he not, Riley would have took it.
Okay, I think Rocco's crossed the line. He started his hot lap now.
Belladonna's improved up to P3, just under 3 tenths behind, 137.033. Very close now, top 5 within just over 3.5 tenths.
It's really important to get good traction out of the Tosa bend there, that left-hander. It's sort of kind of like a hairpin, I guess, but you try to round it off as much as you can.
Yeah. I mean, the secret is there, just letting it naturally take itself out wide to the right on the green. You're not scrubbing off your speed. Rather than doing a tight turn.
Here he is going through.
It's good to see Dan back on top though. Must have maybe had getting a little bit more practice. I know he's a bit like myself, he doesn't get much time to practice. Obviously work, kids.
Rocco's rounding the last couple of corners here. We'll see where he can fall. Let's see if he can break into the 36s himself. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to improve on his time.
No.
He'll give it another go.
He might get held up here.
Does he have enough time?
I'm just trying to look who's in front of him.
He does.
Okay.
He should be alright because Marius is in front of him. So he shouldn't get held up. This could be the lap. Is there a little wobble?
This is a really important sector here, Aqua Minerale. It's really crucial to get right.
This will be a good lap. He'd be definitely improving here. He got a good launch off that corner there.
Coming down to Ravazza now. Vital corner here, this last corner. It's absolutely vital. It can make or break your lap. You can lose a lot of time there if you don't get it right.
You can also chuck it at the gravel there.
Yeah.
Where's he gonna come in at? He improves. Still in 6th.
Yep.
Not that much.
Still a solid lap.
All the 6s.
He might be giving it, trying one more.
Belladonna's pushing here. Pushing massively.
Yeah, at this point, I think when you're looking at the deltas and the live deltas when you're driving, these guys probably know where they've lost that time or where they can pick up a couple more tenths. And it's just sort of like an obsession for drivers to get that sector right. And then on top of that, it's the hope that you don't bottle it somewhere else.
At this point, you've got nothing to lose, have you? You've only got the gain. So
here comes Belladonna.
Nothing fast. Does he improve?
Doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Rocco's still out. Finding a few corners.
Just a dab of the brakes. Really minimal braking there. That was actually kind of impressive how he's able to carry that. So hopefully he can take that down this straightaway here. Across the line.
E3.
Rocco.
Rocco hits the 36. The 36 is great. Good job, Rocco. That was great. But we have...
That was crucial. That was crucial, really, you know, when you reflect on it. That's a massive difference here in P6. You could...
James Gansey's coming across the line now, I think, for his last flyer. Oh, no, I think he didn't. He knew he wasn't going to break it, so... Jason Underwood.
Good job, Rocco. Rocco has just written goal 36 reached. And we got with the spot now.
We got a flashpoint top 3.
Yes.
Right.
Well done, Dan. Super close though. I mean, top 5, 3.5 tenths. Amazing. But as we've seen in previous rounds, you know, with James and Chris coming through the pack, you know, it's all won within this race, isn't it?
After 20 days of qualifying, we have the best drivers from around the world, and they're ready to do battle.
Here we are back, guys. Rocco Tamanoidis wrote that his router decided to update and restart during the qualifying time, so that's why probably he had some problems. But in the end, he succeeded to reach the 36. Okay, we have Lewis on the top in pole position, and then second Riley, and third Rocco Tamanoidis, fourth Belladonna, fifth Marius Kelm, 6th Thomas Marlidis, 7th Coleman Corkery, 8th Chris Collison, 9th James Gansey, and 10th Jason Underwood. And in the first place for GT4, Richard Gossi, GT4 again, and second place Simone Buttafuoco, third Dennis Hawkins, fourth Salvatore Rodano, fifth Fabio Narduzzo, 6 Graham, and 7 Mara. And let me check if we have somebody else more. And 8th Jan Antuono.
It's a formation lap.
The formation lap.
So we get to see all the drivers have a open parade. So how does this play out in Tom?
Well, obviously the first lap is one of the more important laps of the race. You're not going to win it, but you're definitely going to lose it if you make a mistake, and you might actually, take someone with you. So you want to stay reasonably aggressive, and take your chance and take your opportunities. But it's really important. There's going to be a lot of side-to-side racing here. I feel like the formation lap helps with that a little bit. I think a standing start leads to a little bit more action. Carnage.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the formation lap, I think it's, if someone gets a better jump, you're really just taking, you can take one car as opposed to multiple, like you can with a standing start.
You often find it because sometimes more controlled when the guys, like you say, are under the formation. And sometimes you can have a little bit of wheel spin off the line, and it can get a little bit erratic at times.
What's really going to hurt is for any cars that are when it goes green, any cars that are still rounding a corner. It's really going to hurt those guys more than anybody else, because they still have to go through that cornering section, and they can't just drop the hammer like everyone else.
And for all the drivers as well, I mean, it's an hour race, so it's all about strategic minds, isn't it? So it's like kind of, you know, when you attack, when you don't.
I think they're going to be really close. So long as they stick together and they can maintain drafts, there's a possibility of cars, even if they're not as fast or as strong as the car in front, to just stick around, just by being pulled around all the time, and then just staying in the game, staying alive, and hopefully if the guy in front makes a mistake, you can take advantage of it. Usually, an off year costs you just a simple, 2 or 3 wheels off, two to 4 wheels off, but back on track will cost you 5 or 6 seconds. So if you can stay within that range, that's really it's usually a good thing. Looks like we lost Darren.
Yeah, it said disqualified.
What happened? Darren is out. Rest in peace, rest in spaghetti, never forget it. Always press start before the countdown. That's what is written probably.
Also with
in
the
chat.
GT4s, Tom, it's going to be a lot more difficult this time round. It's a very narrow track, and there's only certain points you can actually pass them.
Yeah, right now, Dan's got the countdown, and he's going to start taking it. Here he goes.
Got a great start, Dan Lewis there. Rocco slid up to P2.
Amazing, Rocco in
nice
second
and clean.
place.
Good from Riley as well that he didn't over-attack. He just gave him the room that he needed to take the corner. See, it's all about the long picture.
Right.
Belladonna and Riley are very close.
Dan's opened up a brilliant lead so far, almost 1.8.
He's throwing it down on this first lap, that's for sure. They're really tight in the back there.
Richard's still leading the GT4s away, but the footwork second. Dennis Horton's in third.
Thomas Marlitis is trying to make a move on Marius Kelm here. Okay, thought better of it.
Riley slightly opened the gap to Belladonna. So once he's not under the defensive now, he can attack Rocco now.
Right. He's well within the draft for sure.
Dan has officially took off to another planet.
He packed his luggage today. So he's taking a trip. James Gansey made a move.
Butta fuoco to the pit. He forgot to put some fuel.
Oh no. Simone! No!
It happens.
All right, let's talk about the GT4s a little bit. Richard Gauci has himself gotten about 2.5 second lead on Dennis Hawkins.
Massive lead, yeah. He's opened that gap nicely. They're quite spaced out now.
Yeah, it looks like there's about a 5 second gap between Narduzzo and Ian Antuono.
The two McLarens, Rondano, right behind Dennis. That could be a tasty battle as we get there a little bit later on to the race. Riley's closed in up on Rocco.
Yes, I'm looking at Riley
and
Rocco.
And closing every lap.
Yep.
Seems like he's better on the brakes through the back end of the circuit.
We just had a little bit of a moment on the exit there of the second Ravazza bend, and that's going to hurt your straight lines. It doesn't appear that he's going to have Rocco this lap. but he's definitely pushing. It looks like
Marius
Thomas
and
Marlitis is.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah, he had some
Marlitis.
designs. When you see the headlights pop out, that means he's trying to let the guy know that he's there. Let the guy in front.
And Chris is in hot pursuit of Coleman Cartery as well. That's a nice little battle going on at the minute as well.
I don't recall seeing what happened to Daniela Belladonna.
No,
I didn't see him.
He slipped back. He must have had a slight mistake.
James Ganshy's right on Chris.
Who's there?
That's Simone Bortocco.
Oh, Chris is gone.
It looks like Chris had to take some evasive action. Sometimes you have a car in front of you, it unsettles you, if they're going that slow. And because you don't really know, when you're overtaking even a back marker, you don't know what they're going to do. And it looked like it was just enough to get Chris off of his appropriate corner entry, and that's all it takes. He jumped the corner and spun the car.
Just watching here, Riley is lap by lap trying to close in, but all that this is doing is just bringing Marius and Thomas into play. I can see the two guys ahead of them, and it's obviously encouragement, and just Marius is catching them.
Yeah, Marius looks like he's on a mission right now, and he's taking Thomas Marlitis with him. They're going to be up with Erie.
You say Thomas is getting the drag as well. Sometimes when you're the third car in the train, you're getting the best drag out of anybody. And nearly 7 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, Dan is.
What he needs to do is maybe just be looking at his deltas now, and maybe even if he's 90% of what he was doing there, and he's not going to make any mistakes for the Noah, then he's got this in the bag.
Right, it's an opportunity for him to cool off his rear tires. We all know how he likes a lively car.
Because at that rate, looking at the deltas, he's TTing every lap, like he's pushing hard, and it becomes a time in the race where you've just got to settle down and say, right, I'm comfortable.
Increase traction control, move the brake bias a couple of clicks forward, make the car naturally hold you back, throttle you back, make it safer for you to drive. Looks like Marius Kelm is really tucked underneath Erie right now. The GT4 class there hasn't been any movement there. They're still pacing about 3 to 5 seconds between the cars.
Marius Kelm had a spin.
Marius Kelm.
Yeah. And went out. Now he's back.
What a shame.
What a shame.
Yeah, he was pushing hard, you could tell.
Meanwhile, Lewis on the top is like an alien with 1.36. Just.
Yeah, basic qualifying times, just replicating what he's just put down his quali with obviously full tank of fuel, so it just shows you that he's pushing. But obviously, like we just said, it just reverts to, it becomes a point where you've got to settle down.
Yeah, but I think you mentioned this before in one of our previous conversations, how hard it is for a driver to kind of, bring it back.
It is. But even if it was 5%, that if he could settle it down 5% now, I know he'd be thinking the same. That will win him the race. It becomes a point where you just can't keep on doing 136s because you're going to cost yourself the race.
Meanwhile, Belladonna and Chris Collison are battling for the seventh position.
Marius all the way up went back down to 10th. Looks like Richard's extending his lead lap by lap. Give or take now, he's got 4 seconds on Dennis. And Dano in third in the GT4 class. He's 2 seconds behind Dennis. And Naduzo.
Hey, Craig, a little while ago, I was watching Erie battling with Rocco. He was tucked underneath Rocco's rear bumper, and he was flashing his lights. Is there a reason why a driver would flash her lights in that situation?
When now?
Yeah, just about a half a lap ago.
It'd be basically saying like
a distraction.
No, it's not really a distraction. It's probably like it's either get a move on, these guys are catching us, or I'm lapping faster, so let me tuck in front of you and we'll work together.
Right. These guys are teammates.
If there's any sense, and if there becomes a point where Rocco's holding them up, he's got to think, well, can I keep this up? If the pressure's too much, or do I let him go and I tuck in behind him and get his slipstream, and we work together and we pull each other along? I think it's the point where Riley's thinking like, I've maybe got a little bit more. What I'm having to hold myself back.
Right. These guys don't have radios, and they don't have a race engineer to kind of coordinate these things.
And obviously, none of our guys we never ever chat together in races, because it's every man for himself. Even though we're teammates, we all want to win.
Erie's right underneath Rocco's rear right now. And they're coming up to some back markers. It's going to make it interesting. I think that was Salvatore Rodino that smartly got out of the way there. That is one battle that I wouldn't want to get involved in.
They say he's flashing, but he's flashing the back markers. Was that not what he was flashing before?
I don't think so. It's just I caught a glimpse of it. I was just wondering if there would be a reason, and it's sort of like inter-car communication.
Yeah.
There is an argument to what you said, though. I mean, if you're holding somebody up, and
you're just affecting each other, and
the guy that is getting away from you, if you can't keep up with him, there is an argument to let the guy behind you past you. And the only circumstance I would envision you doing that would be, it could be in your own interest too, because if that car that you let through does eventually catch up to the guy ahead and get in a battle, it would increase the likelihood that they're both going to slow themselves down, allowing you to catch back up.
Mm-hmm.
And also maybe even get into maybe a kerfuffle as well. And it looks like Erie's right alongside Rocco.
Wow.
And he's made the pass. There was a back marker. I knew it. A back marker got involved, and Erie's, Rocco had to check up just momentarily, and gave himself a chance.
This is what I was saying.
Oh. Rocco had a ton of momentum lost.
Now everybody's on it now. It's like this blood spilled.
Yeah.
Everybody's there.
Looks like Thomas was the only one to be able to take advantage. Hopefully Rocco can compose himself here and try to consolidate where he is again. Maybe get the elbows out. But
that reverts back to what I was saying at the start. Strategic minds. It's like a game of chess. Do I let him go and he's going to pull me along, and I'm not worrying about being defensive? There is, i.e., my lap times are going to be faster because I'm not worrying about Riley behind us.
Yeah, it looks like Dan Lewis has chilled out a little bit. He's in the 39s, unless he had made a mistake. But Coleman Corkery is turning up the heat on Rocco now. Here comes James Gansey trying to get a piece of Coleman. This could be a moment where James Gansey has a legitimate overtake on the front straight, and it looks like he's going for it.
Wow.
Good job, James. That's really gonna anger Coleman, though. That GT4 right there basically took away any opportunity that Coleman would have had to counterattack.
James is like a
Excellent
dark
overtaking
horse.
move by James.
He never seems to get his good qualification, but in a race, he comes into his own. He starts more or less from the back every queue.
Yeah, I mean he's up with Rocco now.
Tom, to be honest, how's Dan looking at this now? Can he afford to drop off too much now? There's 45 minutes to go. Yes, he's got a 13-second lead, but if he winds it in too much now that these guys are not really fighting so much.
Yeah, if I were Dan, I'd be just increasing my braking zones by about 10 meters and just see how it plays out. I would be moving the brake bias forward a little bit, make sure nothing happens on the brakes, turning up the traction control, and then looking at the deltas. That's all it really is.
I think Thomas has been working his way into this race.
Yeah.
He's been checking out where the grip is. He's been feeling his way in rather than rushing his way in. So if he rushes his way in, he feels maybe at the earliest parts of the race, that's where he's most likely to occur an incident. So now he's got a little bit more confident under his feet. You notice he's just turned up the heat.
Yeah, he's matching time with Erie, and we know that Erie's one of the faster drivers on this grid today. How does Rocco fight back from this, though? You know, that's got to be heartbreaking. Yeah, there's an issue. He's putting in 39s now.
He's losing pace, dropping back slightly. And when you look, I mean, James was in just slightly quicker, the 38. So if it's going to be like that, I mean, look at Dan's last one, 137.2. It looks like he lifted by about 1%.
We've got another little battle here, a 3-car pack comprised of Chris Coleman, Marius Kelm, and Daniela Belladonna. Unfortunately, it looks like the GT4s, as has been the tradition, they've kind of spread out and spread themselves out. This usually happens right when the GTE class comes through. But this 3-car battle here is kind of interesting.
Richard's got a similar situation with obviously how Dan's race is going. He's roughly 9-10 second lead.
Yeah, he's definitely.
So it's all for his to lose, really, if he just sticks to what he's doing.
He's shown what the Cayman is capable of. There you can see the back end coming out a little bit on Richard Gauchi's Porsche. That's got to be unnerving. But that means he's really trying to push it still. So that's good for him. And he's got the best lap times right now. So
look at Belladonna.
Belladonna has taken advantage of Marius Kelm and has got his sights set on Chris Collison. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see the overtake there.
I saw them. I was looking at them. What happened?
Marius had an off. Can't tell where he is on the track, but he's in the gravel right now. That's 2 offs for Marius Kelm. And you know, Craig, that if you overheat those rears on a spin like that, it's really hard to get the temps back up or back down to where you need them. It just makes the drive more difficult and more difficult.
Absolutely.
Belladonna is very aggressive.
I'm just watching Chris and Belladonna. Like we said last week, Chris will never make it easy for you to get round him.
There you go.
Chris
tried to plant the bus, park the
bus.
Go,
Chris, go!
A little bit of contact.
No.
But Daniela, good job coming through. That was a good battle. And a little bit of contact, too.
Chris will push. Chris won't give up on you.
Go, Chris.
Chris is going to counterattack here, try to get a good exit. Daniela's a little bit squirrely.
You know, guys, I know Daniele Belladonna in person, but I do support Chris Collison.
How can he not support Chris Collison? He's one of the better
He's a very
gentlemen
good
out
driver
here.
for
He's a
start.
very good driver.
Respectful on track
He's
and on it.
capable, smart, genuine, kind.
Yeah, genuine
good
and
guy.
kind.
But you know, Danielle is pushing like a madman. He's angry.
Crimson Eminence. In private, I will have to explain you this thing that you have just written. Okay, we have Underwood Army. There is somebody that is asking for Underwood. So
Jason
Yay.
has had a unspectacular Imola so far. He's about 5 seconds off the pace, unfortunately. He's driving through the mist of Imola, the early morning mist. For him to get back into this race, it's going to take a miracle. He's going to have to find about 5 seconds of pace and then hope other people make a mistake in front of him to grab some places. It looks like Salvatore Rodano is slowly creeping his way up to Narduzzo. It's not quite close, but you know, I'm keeping an eye on it. Oh, and as soon as I said
Salvatore,
that,
no,
Commentators
an accident.
cursed.
Somebody went
And
against Salvatore Rodano.
Thomas is through.
Thomas
Thomas
got through, and then Marius had another spin. Like I said, those rears are already overheated, but Thomas Marlitis was a major benefactor.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I blame myself. I jinxed Salvatore there, and he got sideways and collected Erie. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
That would have caused damage then, wouldn't it?
Hopefully not too much. He might have some front aero damage. But Erie's got to be very upset right now.
Too bad.
Going to bring Rocco back into the frame now.
This is my first time that I see mist during a race, My first time for
that's
me with mist.
Pretty cool.
It looks nice.
It's not a normal thing in sim racing, but this is the notorious Madness engine and its capabilities.
I love it.
That Ryza is taking advantage of more than anything else. It's just unbelievable.
But if you look, it's only certain parts of the circuit, which makes it even more realistic.
As soon as the sun comes out, it disappears. But the cooler parts of the track, it's still, that's a great effect. It's unbelievable.
That's it.
And I also love the light and the way it reflects. It's amazing.
Oh, when the sun shines through it, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah.
So Erie's trying to, collect himself and get back into this fight here, but it looks like Thomas Marlitis has just got, Imola's his track today, and he wants to take the fight to Dan Lewis as best he can.
Dan's got a very healthy lead.
Right now, Dan's
same
in
with
control this race.
Same with Richard. Richard's still got 10 seconds over Dennis.
So we are almost in the middle of the race, right? 36.
Yeah. Almost, yeah.
Okay.
Looking at the lap times, it doesn't indicate that Riley's picked up that much damage. The last lap was a 138.7, so it might be just minor aero, potentially.
Yeah. I've been taking a look at Dan Lewis here, and he's not taking any bit of advice from us, that's for sure. He's throwing down, he's still doing hot lap times. I think anybody out there watching or who has experience driving an Amos 2 would love to have a 37 at Imola.
Rocco is just under 3 seconds off Riley. James is 2 seconds behind Rocco. And then there's a big gap to Coleman Cartery.
It's look at Daniela Belladonna. He has shifted into high gear, and he is throwing out some lap times now. He wants to get back in this race.
James just hit the barriers there.
James Gansey?
Yeah, out of the chicane at the back end of the circuit.
Okay, so there is Cosa Cinesi that wants to ask, after latest game updates, is BMW still the queen of GTE? What do you think, guys?
I think it is. It's really hard to answer that question because you'd have to really go and do a full evaluation of all the cars. I just did a video for Best GTE a couple of weeks ago, and it was clear that the M8 was the class of the field based on track time, and also looks like James had another off there, but also just drivability. The car it does everything well. But as far as the changelog and the notes are concerned, it doesn't appear that anything that Rise has done recently has brought the M8 back to within reasonable parameters with the other cars as far as competitiveness is concerned.
I mean, to add, that could be next though. I mean, I know they've revamped the GT3s.
I have no doubt that it's on their plan. They probably have to figure out how to approach the scenario. The problem with the BMW is it's got a turbo, which
Guys,
isn't in this.
Sorry, what happened to Rocco? Rocco is in the 7th position.
Must have come off.
Yeah, Rocco's dropped about 4 positions and lost about, I'm going to say, 10 seconds of track time. So that was consistent to having an off.
What did we say about James? Look where he is. Every time James, that is a fine example to anybody out there who's watching. Don't beat yourself up in qualifying. You've got a massive race ahead of you, and anything can happen, even against the best grid of drivers.
And it looks like Daniela Belladonna just took advantage of Coleman Corkery, so there's still some racing going on here. But as far as some balance of power or balance of performance speculation is concerned, the problem with the turbo cars is they have an advantage at high altitudes. And you don't want to take away the barometric pressure as a feature, so you can't just like outright nerf the turbo and slow the car down.
There'd have to be weight added to it.
Yeah, I would suggest they do a simple fix, and they should do this well before the multiplayer rating system comes out at the end of the year. They have to
almost like cars. A fake ballast.
Just put a ballast in there, slow the car down based on the average lap times of, take 10 tracks that comprise the top or the most popular tracks in AMS2 as far as multiplayer is concerned. Get the track time, add some ballast to it. I mean, it'll still maintain its characteristics a little bit, just make it a little bit tougher to drive. It'll hurt the acceleration, it'll hurt the cornering just a little bit, and still maintain the natural characteristics of the car as opposed to just, taking away horsepower. Horsepower would just be good for acceleration and top end speed. Whereas I think the problem with the M8 right now, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a problem. It's probably corners too well, considering it's got a really long wheelbase. I'm sure BMW doesn't like me saying that, of course. Well, it looks like Thomas Marlitis has built a gap over Erie Riley. I don't think Marlitis has got the pace to reel Dan in. The only one on track right now that has that kind of pace, I'm going to say it's Daniela Belladonna. Unfortunately, he's 36 seconds behind.
Right now I'm looking at Richard Gauci and Hawkins.
Something must have happened there then.
Yeah, there's something wrong with my relative here.
There is on mine, yeah.
No.
I've just looked at Dennis, and Dennis is nowhere near Richard, but
No,
it's shown on the Delta.
No.
I think Belladonna's on a charge.
GTE. Belladonna.
He's going to be looking for that. He's going to be looking for that 4th place shortly.
Yeah. And it looks like Coleman Corkery. Is going to.
That might help James.
He's just going to go along with Daniela here. If I was Coleman, that's what I'd be thinking right now. You just got passed by Daniela Belladonna. The guy's got a little bit of pace on you. Just try to stick with him. Let him take you places. But at this point, I think it's James Gansey who's got to be looking at that rearview mirror thinking, okay, so how far ahead am I? James didn't have a really good lap. He just put in one in the 40s. Hopefully he doesn't get flustered. I think that James is one of the least experienced drivers out here as far as league racing and really high-level competitive racing. He's joined Flashpoint, of course, because he's talented and smart, but...
Dennis to the pits.
Dennis Hawkins.
Yeah. Dennis makes the first move. Here he comes.
I don't think you're changing tires here with the GT4s. You probably don't even need to refuel.
The animation looked funny there. He went further down the
yeah.
pit lane with the fuel. Quite a quick stop. So it indicates he's getting his setup done correctly. It's going to be interesting to see what Riley does. If he can stop out, maybe go for the overcut. Hoping that Thomas gets stuck in traffic.
And it looks like Coleman Corkery is taking advantage of Daniela Belladonna.
Yes.
These guys are going back and forth. There's an argument to be made here, Craig, that these guys should team up as opposed to battling. But sometimes if you battle each other, you're kind of just hurting both of your races.
Absolutely. Even with your rivals, it's always good to try pull each other up track.
But what happens when you do that and the guy in front makes a mistake?
Good question.
It's just a trust thing. I mean, you find if you pull each other up the track, you end up battling each other after it's just used to then. Oh, big spin, Coleman. That puts Rocco into 6th place.
Rocco, the championship leader, is got to be sweating a little bit here. He's probably not happy with the way his race has gone. It doesn't look like his pace has been that great, although he just dropped to 37. If he can keep some of that up, he might be able to, just outright pace is concerned, he might make an argument for third still if he keeps this pace. I think you got to take what you got at this moment and be reasonable about your expectations. There's no way he's going to come in first.
He's got to be sensible as well.
20 seconds behind Marlitis, but 12 seconds behind Erie. He can probably on pace get James here if he keeps it up.
Guys, Dan Lewis at the pit.
Dan Lewis in the pit, getting a splash and dash.
But Tom, you got to look at it though. He's got to be sensible here, because you look at it, the top four aren't really in and around Rocco's position in the championship.
Right. Fortunately, Richard Gauci has helped Rocco here, because Dennis Hawkins was his closest championship points competitor. Dan Lewis is, he's got to win some races to get back his name back in the conversation as far as championship points are concerned.
Obviously, I think Dan had to miss the first round. Is that correct? I do believe.
Yeah.
But obviously, that could count as his drop score.
Tom, I'm pretty shy because there is Kosichinesi in the chat that has just written, I would like to ask Tom if the logo 27 is a tribute to Harry Potter.
Yeah, no. No, it's not. It's that was my my collegiate athletic number. When I was an athlete back in the day, that was my number. So, and then I just like the lightning, so I just combine them.
Mine's off when I was an athlete as well. Tom.
Oh, really? Did you play what did you play?
No, I'm only kidding. People always ask us what my number's for. It's just probably like a number that always occurs. So the number 69's everywhere. It's even in my phone number, and I didn't pick it.
So, I see that Bobby 2 Dazzler is back with us. So I wanted to say welcome back to Bobby. And I was reflecting on one of his questions a couple of weeks ago about tire temps. And if you can remember, I said that anything that deviates from the optimal tire pressure should transfer heat in its own way. And I've been giving that some thought, and I've been seeing some things on track with cars that have really low pressures. And my belief nowadays is that the higher pressure that you run, the more chance that you'll add scrub to the tires when you're driving at the limit. And it's the scrub that really, that edge of grip that really adds a lot of heat to the tires. And what's important, I did some research as well, what's important for AMS2 and their tire model is core temperature only. The tread temperature doesn't have that much of an impact on the characteristics of the tire. So it's that core temperature that's the most important thing. So I think I remember telling Bobby that lowering the pressure would get more grip as a way to get some heat, but it appears that it may be increasing the pressure to get more scrub when you're on the limit might be a better way to get tire temperature.
Yeah. Right, because obviously when you're cornering, the higher your pressures, it hasn't got the flexibility within the tyre when it loads up, has it?
Less traction, a little bit less traction, a little less rolling resistance.
So when they're softer, you come into the corner, they expand more, which therefore grips up.
Yep. And it seems
James
like, someone's heading off here.
James Gansey.
James Gansey made a mistake.
Yep.
And there you go. Rocco.
Rocco in third position.
Rocco.
when does the top two make the move? Riley's come off track into the gravel. It's going to cost him a few seconds.
So here, under this circumstance, do you think that Dan Lewis pitted a little bit too early? He's put himself behind, Chris Collison, and that could hold him up a little bit. Do you think that he should have waited a little bit longer to let the guys like Chris get farther down track?
I think it's probably right in what Dan's done, because he knows they've got to come in very shortly. Then he's got the free roam of the track for himself. All them guys you can see in front of him obviously haven't pitted yet, so he just settles back into where he was.
Yeah, I'm thinking that he could have come in later in the race because he had all that open track.
Possibly.
Now he's going to be behind Chris Collison. Who knows when Chris is going to pit? I don't think these cars don't need to pit until the 16th lap. Or no, I'm sorry, not the 16th, but around like the 50-minute mark. So we're coming up on it, but
I think the best advice is for him just not to get excited. He's got a massive lead, and not worry about these in front, knowing that these guys aren't in front of them. They are at the moment on track, but they've all got a pit.
Right.
So he's got a nice, no matter if it was obviously a right decision, wrong decision, he's got a massive cushion.
If he clears Chris Collison, there it goes.
Chris gone now,
Chris just ducked in, and he's got plenty of clear track. So the conversation was moot. Well, for argument's sake, if Chris stayed on track and say he held up Dan, it would be up to Dan to overtake Chris on track, right? But if he couldn't get past Chris, and he was putting in, lap times of, in the 140s.
Yeah.
At that point, if you're, Thomas Marlitis, you got all that clear track ahead of you. Take advantage of it and do the opposite thing that Dan did.
That was a nice quick stop from Chris there. Straight in, straight out.
He needed that to get himself back into this one. I think this car really suits Dan.
See, Dan was always a Corvette.
I know he likes the Corvette, but this car kind of, I think it corrals Dan's natural tendency to just overdrive the cars. The Corvette can be overdriven.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you can't overdrive the Corvette too much because it would just break loose on you.
Yeah, but the M8, if you overdrive it, you're going to get a little bit more understeer, and it's just going to naturally slow you down.
It just feels like it's got a better centre of gravity all the way around the whole car.
Right.
I don't personally like the Corvette and its characteristics, but it might suit somebody else. I think it's all personal flavour. And like we had this discussion before, there's plenty of guys out there who is unbelievably fast in a Corvette that will match this car no matter what.
So I love the Corvette. It was the first GTE that I drove when they came out with Racing USA 1. But it reminds me a little bit like the McLaren 720S as far as driving style. If you take away that unbelievable grip that the McLaren 720S has when you get on the throttle. So it's got all that cornering characteristic of a McLaren 720S, but it just does not have that plantedness that the
I know what you mean, the plantedness. It makes me a little bit nervous when I'm trying to push too much with the Corvette. I just feel like you've got to rein it in a bit to get the best out of it. You can't sort of like wring its neck and set about like really like putting good lap times in with it. It kind of like makes us nervous.
Yeah, I actually tuned in a lot of front stiffness for the Corvette to try to tame the rear end a little bit. It hurts. It really hurts when you're putting setups together for cars where you have to hurt the natural advantage that it might have. Most of the time when you're putting builds together, you want to accentuate the strength of the car. With the Corvette, the C8R, I feel like you have to kind of do the opposite. You have to reel it back in, which is it's a shame. But putting a build together for the M8, completely different story. It's so neutral. It just
I'd like to see the
responds to
Porsche
everything.
GTE up there. I'd love to see the Porsche GTE compete, and it would be nice to get some characteristics from the very similar to the GT3, like that planted feeling when you're out of corners. It just hasn't quite got that yet. So hopefully in the next few updates we might see a bit more get up and go out the corner with the GTE Porsche.
You know, if you look at the times for the RSR at Long Beach, a track that it should have a major advantage, it actually beats the M8 as far as top times are concerned. So I think that the low end acceleration and rotation is, you know, the low speed acceleration and rotation is there. My feelings on the Porsche RSR is it just doesn't have the legs that it needs to keep up with these guys on the long stuff, especially places like Daytona or Bathurst. But in like a short 90-degree street circuit, the Porsche should be more competitive, maybe more than it is, to be honest. It doesn't have a problem with acceleration, probably, and top end speed. Yeah,
Laguna circuit maybe be good there.
Yeah, it should. Anything that has like a 90-degree corner. But these long Grand Prix style tracks are going to favor the horsepower.
Paul McCarthy just went on the wall, but he's back on track.
It's back on track, okay.
Yeah, just a question, guys. We still have 13 minutes to go. Is it possible? I mean, I saw few drivers go to the pit. Is it possible to end the race without going to the pit?
No, because it's mandatory, you know.
Avoiding the pit? No, I don't think it's possible.
They have to pit?
You have to pit, no matter
By
what.
rule.
Is it mandatory?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, okay. I thought it wasn't mandatory. My
No,
fault.
it's mandatory, but the BMW also needs a little bit of fuel to get through a full 60-minute session in Rich.
Little dash.
I think about 10 liters, 10 to 15 liters will do it.
Jason Underwood just went to the pit. Because it's usually drivers go to pit more or less at on the half of the race, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's all like we're going back to before what we were saying now, Rennie.
Okay.
It all depends on the strategy.
Yes, of course.
Position on track plays a big factor. If some of the guys were held up behind maybe cars what they felt that was slower than them, they might have decided to pit early, or if they've got plenty of track ahead of them, they decide to stay out.
The other reason why I would come in, or you would do it at the 30-minute marker, would be, you know, if tire wear was a concern. I don't think it is here at Imola. In fact, I probably suspect the tires to be a little bit underheated. They're not going to get that much wear today.
Yeah, look,
if you were getting,
if
you're having temp issues or any wear issues, that's when you would, you know, come in a halfway point and try to maximize the rubber on the tires. But here, it's not a factor, so they could really come in at any time.
9 degrees, they're not going to be burning any rubber whatsoever.
No, there's no blistering, but there might be some graining, depending on where they're at. So, fortunately, we can't tell. I don't think the track temperature's too cold for that. These are soft tires, but
that's what I would like to see introduced, if it was ever possible down the line, as a spectator, to see what the conditions of people's tires are.
Marley's to the pit.
You know what I mean, Tom?
Yeah.
So when you clicked on them, you could see what tire option they were on, what the wear was.
Yeah, just like F1 does. I think part of me thinks that is a little bit. And how would they know? I think they're just kind of making stuff up on those graphics during the F1 Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But But yeah, it's something like that would be really, really interesting. Obviously, you don't want the competitors to see it, so it would have
No.
to be spectators only.
Yeah,
Which would be good for a
spectators
Twitch
only.
broadcast, yeah.
But you
for
know,
sure.
the UI that the guys get to show the wear, it just had to be that same graphics, just transferred to the spectator mode, wouldn't it?
Right.
You know, just a real basic sort of graphic of the tyre wear. Don't know if it's possible. Anybody from Rees is listening? Let us know.
It's all a matter of triage over there at Riser. They're doing the most important things first and getting through those big ticket items. Oh no! Watching Coleman Corkery try to get around Salvatore Rodano, and sometimes when you have cars around you have to take a little bit of an alternative line, get yourself into
Just
trouble.
watching Richard there. Richard's playing the game very well. As soon as any sign of danger, he's right out the way. The
And he's
last thing
entering the
Richard
pit.
wants is damage. The last thing he wants to pick up is damage. This be a big important win. This could set the tone for him going forward now.
Yeah, he seems to have the car. This is obviously one of his better tracks. I think the car was probably letting him down a little bit more. But for sure, he's taking advantage of it. And maybe this is Richard's coming out party today.
But it's certainly got to be encouraging though, because let's look at the bigger picture. This is quite a big circuit. You know,
Yeah.
don't think for a second anybody watching that, the Cayman's sort of just winning on a small circuit. It's leading comfortable on a quite a large circuit here.
I just wanted to tell you that Rocco made a mistake and went out, and then, but just a little bit, and then he went on track, back on track.
Yeah, today's not Rocco's day, unfortunately.
No.
But he's still trying to scratch a podium here.
He's still in
Really
9 seconds off.
He needs to filter through his pit stop to see where he's at.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be in front of James Gansey. I believe Coleman has not pitted either.
No, he hasn't. No.
I think it's going to be Lewis, Marlitis, Erie, and then Rocco. So fourth place, not the greatest finish that Rocco's probably hoping for, but at least some points.
Points in the bag.
Riley to the pit.
With 8 minutes to go. Look at Gansey in second place.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome Mr. Slim Shady. Mr. Slim Shady is new in AMS2. Is coming from ACC. So
welcome.
Maybe you guys can tell him something.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that these recent updates to AMS2 have massively improved the drivetrain and how the car is responding under throttle and how the differential's working. I just watched a video from Gamer Muscle, the first time that I've seen him post a positive review of AMS2, and it goes to show the hard work that Ryza has been putting in to make sure that these cars are as realistic as possible. The funny thing about AMS2, it's got this stigma of Project Cars 2 associated to it, but it's not because the cars, the game or the end game engine is any less capable of other engines out there. In fact, there's some things about the Madness engine that are quite complicated. So for example, just the driveline, the differential, the drive shaft, the crankshaft, and the person that would know most about it is here's Crimson Eminence, but there's potentially half a dozen different elements inside the driveline itself that they're trying to simulate. So anytime you hear, AMS2 is simcade, it's sort of as a laughable comment because they're actually simulating more things than than a lot of other games. So right now it's just a matter of fine-tuning all those things and make sure that they're working well together. Looks like we've got 3 BMWs coming out of the pits at the same time here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Tom
Is that
Sorley.
He's Riley now. Riley's going to overtake them all. There we go.
But I think the story here is that Coleman Corkery got James Gansey in the pits.
James Gansey has got just 10 seconds of penalty.
So he had to go through a 10-second penalty. Okay, so that makes more sense now that Coleman would take advantage of that.
But even going back to the Project Cars 2 theory, like what you mentioned there, our transition from that, and even in beta stage, this was night and day above it, even at beta.
Right.
And that was 1.5 years ago, maybe. A lot has improved. So, you know, anybody who makes a reference, it's kind of guys who don't play the game just want to hate on the engine.
The next question from Mr. Shady is, what's the correct tire pressure? And this is the thing that's going to frustrate you coming from ACC. There isn't a correct tire pressure.
Even in real life, there isn't. That's where it replicates the wrong thing.
Unfortunately, there's no widget that you can just get your pressures proper. You have to do a little bit of observation. You have to take a look at your telemetry HUD and set your pressures according to the IMOs of the temperature yourself.
And obviously,
tutorials online that you can find, I'm sure, to help you set your pressures properly.
You bring up his UI as well. Watch the HUD. It'll show you his core pressures and if it's wearing inside, outside, inside.
Yeah, take a look at the temperatures of the tire with the telemetry HUD, and make sure that middle temperature and the middle number for the tire is right in between the inside and the outside. Usually, that's a pretty good indication that you're close to the optimal tire pressure. But yeah, there's no goal as far as a number in bar or PSI that you're shooting for in this game.
What's your magic number, Tom? +5?
+5 for what?
Inside, outside?
Yeah, for the fronts, I usually go between 5 and 7. I think that's a reasonable amount. I've been shooting for 5 nowadays. I think 7's a little bit much because it doesn't really give you that much room to, increase it. So with 5, you can decrease it and increase it as you see fit. And then I've been settling in for 3 degrees difference between the inside and the outside for the rears lately. I think that has a good feel to it. Gives you a nice traction.
Look at Dan's lead.
Good Dan.
What a fantastic drive.
Yeah, for sure. And he's still in the 37s.
The battle at the minute is Riley and Maldonus.
Yes, I'm looking at them. So I just wanted to remind, maybe Mr. Slim Shady doesn't know about you guys, but Tom, Steelcast27, is a YouTuber and he has an amazing YouTube channel which is Steelcast27 indeed. And please check. Cose Cinesi has just given you a link, has just posted you a link of Steelcast27 so you can take a look. And also we have with us Craig Lex that used to say the Nemesis 69. I mean, maybe the fastest driver in AMS2, maybe. Am I wrong? Maybe not. Who knows? We will see in this championship. Maybe. Craig Lex said that he didn't have time to join the race and to compete against all the other guys such as Dan Lewis and Rocco Tamanoidis and Riley and so on. Daniele Belladonna, what's happening to Daniele Belladonna and Coleman Corkery? Simone saying to me that Daniele Belladonna has just overtaken Coleman Corkery. Sorry guys.
The battle right now, I want to point out, is that Thomas Marlowe.
Coleman's back in front. Belladonna just had a sideways out the corner.
We got to switch to Erie Riley and Thomas Marlowe right now.
Oh no!
He's lost it.
No, Thomas! Had a spin.
Thomas,
Pushed too hard through there, didn't he?
is that the wrong
Slightly.
place to try to overtake there? Outside, going into Ravazza?
When there was a big straight coming up, I've got to say
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know.
I've got to say yes. I mean, but look at the
Unbelievable.
clock. You've got to, you either
He
settle
would
for
have had
third
to
or
put Erie off of his line, because obviously Erie's going to stay on the driver's line. He would have had to
Rocco. Straight into Rocco's hands.
Rocco. Unreal.
If
Rocco,
honestly,
Rocco to
if
the
he fell from an
podium.
aeroplane, he'd fall in the pool of roses.
I'm sure Rocco's going to be ecstatic with third place points here.
Look at
The
Marley.
thing is, he's kept himself in the game, and that's what Rocco will always do. So, any mistakes that guys are making, he's there to pounce, and that is, that's credit of a good driver.
Guys, look at Marley.
Thomas Marlides is not happy about that,
Not
though.
happy.
No.
Back on him. This will be the last lap. Oh, he's pushing hard.
Look at Rocco driving in the middle of the track. What an unbelievable defensive move there.
There's only so many moves he could do, though, isn't there?
Oh, man, Thomas is really going to be angling here. Is he going to make the same mistake? He's got to make a move here. He's got to go
That's
for it.
He's done him. No, he
No!
No.
He had to, though, there. Guys, I think this is the last lap, correct? There's no way you can get a draft and get the first.
There was. That's it. No, there's one more because Dan's on his last lap now, obviously because he crossed the line before the timer.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So Thomas
move
would have had
attempt there.
another lap. Thomas would have had another lap to attack him. And
Again, I just don't think that's a good overtaking zone there. From a tactical perspective. It's really the next corner that you really just have to get a great exit and try to catch somebody at the end of the front straight. Just looks like James Yancey knocked off with Dennis Hawkins.
Can you believe Simone is on a podium?
There we go, Simone.
Not bad. Yesterday he arrived, he was first. He went to the podium and he arrived first. So tonight, third position for Simone, not bad.
Here comes Dan.
And ciao Dan,
Over the line.
good job.
Congratulations, what a great drive.
There you go. Congratulations, Dan.
Amazing.
What an unbelievable drive from Dan Lewis there. Just
He's Riley coming up now in the final corner. Brilliant from Riley. He's got to be happy with the P2 there.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys that I'm going to keep an eye out for the rest of the season.
Well done, Rocco. That was a great fight back.
Rocco crawling himself back into third position, taking whatever he can.
And
Richard's crossed the line. P1 in the GT4 class.
Congratulations to Richard.
Dennis is coming up the line now. Commanding lead from Richard, though. He drove outstanding in that Cayman all race.
Yeah.
Nice to stay, let the guys from the GTEs past. Didn't get yourself caught up in any dramas.
Marius Kalmel just passed.
Simone in third. Well done, Simone.
Yes.
I saw one of the Flashpoint guys jam Richard Gauci into the wall there. I was wondering if that was more than just a friendly congratulations. Maybe somebody was upset about interference from a GT4 car in a battle. It looked like one of the Flashpoint guys. Can't really tell with this camera angle, but Who do you think your driver today is? Craig?
Got to be Dan. It's got to be Dan.
Yeah.
I mean, look, best lap there. I mean, 136.9. He's on qualifying terms. He's got to have driver of the day.
Yeah,
for the
I
GT3.
think so. If it was a little bit more reasonable, I'd like to give a shout out to Thomas Marlitis for just some really great
Some great attacking
efforts
from Thomas.
Yeah, and also
I mean,
Richard Gauchi.
all drivers. I mean, it's hard to choose. I mean, Richard putting the Cayman. It's the new era for the Cayman now, and I think Richard's going to start putting a stamp on this championship now, from now on in. So he'd be definitely one to watch.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty bad for Daniela Belladonna and Marius Kelm today. Their races didn't turn out the way that I think that they wanted them to. Just got into trouble one too many times.
But from second down to fifth, they're relatively close in best lap times when you look at it.
Dan!
Hi guys.
Amazing! Good job! Great job! Amazing!
That's good.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Congrats, Dan. Well done, well driven.
Sweating after that one. Oof.
So what's your drink of choice after a race like this, Dan? You just spent 60 minutes doing quali times at Imola.
Give the man a Moretti.
Well, I'm just on orange squash at the minute, actually, because I'm up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, another feeling.
Yeah, it was good fun though. I attribute it all to my adjustment of the setup to be able to attack the curbs a little bit more.
And what'd you do there? You got soften up the springs a little bit?
Yeah, soften the springs, a little bit more ride height, only a tweak. A little bit more fast bump, actually. I found playing around with a fast bump made a bit of a difference. Stopped it bouncing over the chicane.
Right, yeah.
Slow bump.
Really? Okay, so it's recovering from the bumps. Yeah, that's just going to impact the car there. That'll definitely slow down the body movement for sure. I usually like to soften the springs a little bit for Imola, and also take a look at the high speed damping too.
Yeah.
Because you can really, a car like this kind of floats over the curbs already, but you could really gain tons of track time at Imola because they have all those sausage curbs, especially in the first sector at Tamburello, and that's really great adjustment, smart move. What was your expectation for today? Was this sort of like one of those revenge races? Did you have it in your mind that your name was kind of getting lost as far as the championship conversation is concerned? Did you want to make a statement today?
There's definitely a statement coming. I was definitely going to push as hard as I could. I've had a terrible start so far, so hopefully this is the turning point now for my season.
Yeah, I think you had about 2 seconds on everybody after lap 1, so we could definitely tell that you were on fire. You had some bad intentions today.
I tried to be tactical with the restart as well. Tried to hold everyone up and sort of shoot at the last second.
Was one of the things that Craig and I were discussing with whether or not you ever have the thought of maybe bringing it back a little bit when you say you get 12 seconds ahead of the guy in second. Does that thought cross your mind, or you just pedal to the metal?
That's a problem that I got. I'm a bit like Colin McRae, to be fair. I'm nowhere near everyone's skill level, but it's I'm either winning or I'm crashing in my mind. That is the way it's going,
Right.
But, that's something I should possibly work on. Thanks, dude.
You drove outstanding. Congratulations. That's what Tom was saying. We're having I don't know if you listen to the comms, you probably won't. You'd be like me, you like to concentrate, but
yeah, I don't listen to anything.
We were kind of like, well, I think I was kind of saying on the lines is I think Dan might sort of look at the relative now and think I might just maybe lift 5%, because I know you can't. You're very similar to myself. You can't take your foot off the gas too much. If you do, you're more likely to make a mistake because you're not.
So to lose my concentration a bit more.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So you've kind of. I was looking at your times. I'm thinking, there's no way he's lifting. He's like 37.2, 37.3 every lap, and it was great to see, man. You were just absolutely on fire.
I did I thought I made a mistake in my pit stop because for some reason I haven't got my in-car menu mapped the controls to adjust stuff. So at the start of the race, I wasn't quite sure whether a full tank would make it, so I added 10 laps in the pit stop and changed to softs. Realistically, now looking back, I probably wouldn't have put that fuel in. But I still would have changed tyres. But I thought I might have made a mistake with it, because that's obviously 15 seconds lost in the pit stop. But I just kept it down and tried to make as much time back as I can, and watch one by one people in front of me dropped into the pits, and it just came out on top.
Do you have any thought in your mind about when you pitted roughly around the midway point? Is that just like a default thought in your mind, just coming in the midway point, or was the on-track tactics coming into play?
I was gonna spend as much of my tires as I could until I felt I was losing a bit of lap time. That was always my plan. I feel if you've got a pit, I don't see the point in dragging it out and pitting in the last 10 minutes. Make the most of it. Go in, change your tires, and get a fresh head out again. And
there's only you who knows when you're losing time as well, Dan. I think you made that decision thinking, I can feel my tires getting away from us slightly. It's going to maybe cost me. I'll just do it now and get it out the way.
Well, I find when my fronts go away from me, it costs me track penalty warnings, and I was getting up to 2 out of 3 in the first half hour, so I thought, I best rein this in. But
definitely, that was like you were thinking, oh no, this is Spielberg all over.
Yeah, I got that in the back of my mind now. I wouldn't let that affect me again.
No, absolutely. No, you make a performance like you say, you've done yourself absolutely proud there. Faultless, mate.
Well, I got to commend the boys in the GT4s as well, because they all stayed on their lines perfectly, and everyone was so easy to read.
That's great. Well, congratulations, Dan. We're looking forward to next week for the next opportunity for you to, climb the ladder, get your name back up in there. So, congratulations on today. Get some rest, get some fluids, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, no worries, guys. Thank you. See you soon.
All right, so the number one GT4 today was Richard Gauci driving the Porsche Cayman. Richard, you there?
Yeah, hi.
Hey, welcome. Is this the first time you've been interviewed after a post-race?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, here we go.
Let's hope it's not the last.
Right, exactly. So you have, the Porsche Cayman.
Yeah.
Coming into this one, it looked like it was giving up a little bit of time to the McLaren. But you're the primary benefactor of some of the recent updates. Do you feel like the Porsche is more competitive in the GT4 category than it ever has been?
Not really, to be honest. I feel the distance between the two cars wasn't so big at Imola, but you get to other circuits and there's like 3 seconds difference. Even in the time trials, I noticed that you, Craig, and both of you actually both did times in the Cayman, and both of your times were faster in different cars. So, I mean,
I haven't tried it yet, Richard. Since all the new updates.
Yeah, I mean, every time I've tried, to be honest, normally what I'll do is I'll try the McLaren just to see how far off I am. And to be honest, I seem to always set a better time with the McLaren. So, in this circuit, I could see the difference. Like there wasn't that much of a gap. So, I thought I'd stood a chance here. But especially after last week, it kind of gave me a heads up of exactly what the pace was and where I was with the pace. So.
Well, there's certainly a gap now. I think you finished about 30 seconds in front of the next GT4 competitor. So if Imola favors the Porsche, you definitely added something to that as well. I think Dennis has been running away with the championship so far. Has that been a concern for you?
Well, to be honest, I came into the championship and I honestly didn't think I even stood a chance. With the pre-qualifying, I was literally, I think I qualified 24th. So to me, I thought I was going to be mid-pack, and it's kind of the reason why I took the Porsche, because there's a bit more where you can adjust things, whereas the McLaren is so fast, it's pretty much locked as for settings. So I kind of decided just to take the Porsche just so I can kind of learn more through the whole experience. This is the first time I've actually did a championship. So I am kind of kicking myself now, seeing pace wise, I could have actually been fighting a bit more with the boys, but it is what it is now, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw a couple of times that some of the McLaren drivers, of course, there's a lot of them, they were having some issues, especially at the curbs. Did you feel like the Porsche handled the curbs really well for you?
To be honest, I don't want to sound bad, but I actually hate the way it bounces, so I can never kind of get my head around it. I think I've just managed to kind of learn how to attack the curbs themselves, because even setups, I did a few mistakes just because I was running so much. The diffs locked, basically locked, just trying to get the car to turn in because there's so much understeer in this car. And same with a lot of brake bias. So what was happening is every time I'd kind of try to brake a bit early, just to let the GTE boys, I'll end up losing the back end. And there was a point where I unfortunately, I don't know who it was, and I'm very sorry, but we came together with one of the GTE boys. I think he was running fourth at the time. Apart from that, there was a little bit of pinging as well, so it didn't kind of help the situation. But yeah, I think I was a bit surprised that the McLaren boys weren't trying to ride the curbs a bit more, but maybe it was offsetting the cars for them. But I kind of I got my head around it and was kind of I was making sure I was riding them. So.
Yeah, a lot of things when setting up cars and going through tracks like this, it's not so much that you handle curbs the best. It's so long as you handle them better than the next guy. And I don't think the McLaren really liked the curbs here, and it was maybe one of the reasons why the Porsche is so
No,
strong.
it didn't.
I mean,
So
ideally, I wouldn't have touched the curbs myself. It's just I struggle so much just to get the Porsche to turn that it kind of gives you a bit of a straighter line by riding the curbs, and that was kind of the only reason I did it because obviously you're always playing with fire when you are doing it. It doesn't take much to off balance the car when you're riding the curbs. But like I said,
I saw at the end of the race too, at the post race grouping.
yeah.
You got a little love tap from one of the M8s. Was that perhaps the driver that you had come together with earlier in the race?
To be honest, I missed it. I mean, I felt the steering, but I had logged off as I was trying to log on to the Discord. So I'm
I
not too
see.
sure who it was. I guess what was in the on the
Well, we'll
replay.
pass along your apologies to the Flashpoint team if that was indeed the case. I'll talk to one of them, I'm sure, at some point. Let's see what happened. We didn't really catch it on camera, but congratulations to you. You deserve this one. You
Thank
really
you.
put yourself up into the conversation with that kind of pace. So I hopefully you've gotten some strong points today. We'll see how the numbers play out, and hopefully you'll have a good argument for the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Well done, Richard.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, guys. So, next Monday, Sunday, Monday, we will be in Kyalami.
Awesome track. Fantastic track. That's gonna be fun. There's a lot of places that people can make mistakes at Kyalami, and it's a difficult technical track that I don't think is like one of the top tier tracks. So maybe some people have some practice to do this week. Craig, what do you think? Oh, Craig left.
Craig
It's
left.
all me now.
Craig left.
Anyway, I think Kyalami is going to be a great challenge. It's typically hot down there, so the tires they'll get a little heat in them, maybe overheat. So driving style is going to definitely make a big difference there. So looking forward to it for sure.
Yes, they will just have 1 week to practice, unfortunately, because we had to repeat this race tonight. But it's gonna be fun, I'm sure. I'm sure.
All
Okay.
right.
So guys, we will be waiting for you. It was a pleasure. It was very thank you very much for to all fair drivers. I've been loving this race tonight. And thank you to all the spectators that have been watching us. And thank you, Tom, and thank you, Craig, to join us and helping me with the broadcasting. And nothing. I will be waiting for you next week.
See you next week, Irene.
Ciao,
Bye, everybody.
buonanotte. Good night. Ciao, ciao.
Bye, guys.